Welcome to Rock and Recovery. I'm Jay. We had a special guest named Jasmine. She'll be coming up here in a minute, but it is Recovery Awareness Month and also Suicide Prevention Month. So if you know somebody that's going through it, it's dial 988 in the US and Canada, 111 in the UK, and let's prevent the suicides. Come on, people. We can do better. And welcome, Jasmine.
Hi, everybody. I
Hi,
love that.
Jasmine.
I love that you included the other countries in that because usually I'm Canadian, so I just include the Canadian numbers. So I love that you got everybody in there because you're so right with that, especially with suicide. I think it ties in a lot to do with mental health and
Mental health,
addiction.
it
And
does.
just like all of it is kind of like a ball. You know what I mean?
And I just did a podcast, I think the other day, that dealt with just suicide and overdose. And uh, uh, accidental overdose is not a suicide, and don't treat it as such,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not. you
Exactly.
know Now, do you have on purpose overdoses that the person is trying to kill themselves? But there is accidental overdoses, and that is not a suicide.
And a lot of them are accidental because, well, in Canada, because they cut everything with
With
fentanyl,
fentanyl,
and
yep, you don't
people,
even know what you're getting.
you don't have a tolerance, and bang. And now they're making carfentanil, and
Mm,
that's even worse. And now there's a new one, and it has like an elephant tranquilizer in it, and it's
wow.
taking people out like crazy. I just forgot the name of it, but I was
Mm,
just at Overdose Awareness Day, and everybody had that on their lips, that word that I can't remember, right? Like that's being put into the fentanyl and the carfentanil,
wow.
making it even worse, right? They call it monkey dust in the UK, but I don't know the actual name for it. But yeah, so anyways, I guess I'll get to a bit of my story. So I'm 5 years sober. I'm 37. So my journey began with addiction when I was bullied all through school. I mean, like hardcore bullied. Most people do commit suicide if they go through what I did, but I didn't, obviously, and I turned to drugs and alcohol. The first time I smoked weed, I was about 13. First time I got drunk, I was probably even younger because I, when our culture, it just, or your parents, it looks like it's fun, all that kind of stuff. So when our parents would be partying, we would steal a few beers and hide them under the bed and
Mm,
drink them. So I would say maybe the first time I ever got drunk, I was probably like 11 or 12, but not blackout, fucked up, crazy drunk, right? But my mom always turned to alcohol for everything, so I didn't really know any better. So, anyways, after high school, my parents split up, and my mom took absolutely left my dad with like nothing but the house. So I stayed with my dad to help him kind of rebuild things. I don't have the best relationship with my mom, so I stayed with my dad to try to help him get back on his feet. But my dad was so depressed, he was drinking a lot, and I didn't know how to cope, so I was drinking a lot. So that's where the alcoholism started. And I mean, I was pretty bad. Like I would wear a robe and just walk around and go to the liquor store. I don't know why they would serve me alcohol. One time I peed my pants, went into the LCBO, and they still sold me alcohol. I'm like, now that I think
wow.
about it, I'm like, how did you didn't like tell, you couldn't, because I have my smart serve because I was in the hospitality industry for a long time. So I know that they have a duty of service to not sell it to me, but yet they're selling it to me. So,
Yeah.
but I went on like that for like a long time. I'd say about 4 years. My dad had a heart attack, so he had to stop drinking. So um, then I started dating somebody who was military, and he didn't like my drinking, and my dad didn't like the drinking anymore. So I got pushed into going to AA, right? I didn't really want to per se, but I got pushed into it. While I was there, I ended up breaking up with that boyfriend and meeting somebody in AA. So I 13th stepped. So basically, my reasoning for going to these meetings was to see this guy, not to work a program or work on myself. I mean, so I was basically like a dry drunk, and if you want to put it
Right.
in terms. I just wasn't drinking because he wasn't drinking and I wanted to be with him, right? But I was still smoking pot and he refused to like ever truly commit to me unless I quit smoking pot, which was honestly my harm reduction medication, so to speak, at that time because it was keeping me from drinking. Do you know what I mean? So once he finally called it all off, I dove right back into alcohol. So sober for 3 years, dove right like head first. Like it was bad. I mean, oh man, like, but it wasn't like when I was younger where I would like I remember leaving my aunt's house when I was younger, taping bottles of liquor to my pants, wearing baggy pants and walking out.
The good parachute pants. Yeah.
Yeah, and put the parachute pants on, tape booze to my legs, and leave, and like doing stupid little things like that. I had money because I had a job, right? So I could afford things. So it actually made the drinking a lot worse because it was just so much more accessible for me to get. I worked in bars and restaurants, and so it was hell getting up and going to work hungover. I don't know how I put myself through it. Like, because obviously I was addicted to it. So I'd be shaking, doing this, putting
Mm,
eyeliner on and stuff. And like all the men, like they don't even know their names because I was drunk and I didn't care. Like I just would be with the wrong people. I put myself in some really, really dangerous positions by meeting people like you would say online dating, but doing it while intoxicated and you know, going to their house, having them pick me up, you know what I mean?
wow.
Like
It's pretty dangerous, wouldn't
yeah,
yeah.
when I look back on it, it was super, super dangerous. And I thank God that like nothing bad happened to me because most people would not have survived because I was also targeting at that time because I didn't have kids or anything, people that were more affluent, right? So they don't treat you very nicely. You're basically like an object. So I'm real lucky. I also got like met some bikers at a bar one night and their biker club was called Red Rum. And I kept going, Red Rum, Red Rum. And I'm surprised they didn't shoot me, but I found their cocaine that they couldn't find. So they were like, say whatever you want. You found a huge bag of dope we had to sell, right? Saved my life, honest to God, by finding this cocaine. But I did have one negative situation because I was really high on cocaine and I had been drinking a lot and I didn't want my dad to see me like that, right? So the guy's house I was at was like, if you want to stay here, you have to let us film you stripping. And it was really
Wow.
degrading. It was really degrading. And then I told a friend of mine about it and he confronted them and they're like, oh, Jasmine's just like that. So I just had begun to get this reputation of being like a drunk whore, I guess you could say. And I also
Wow.
never really cared what I looked like some of the times. And I would go to the bar, like wearing the most ridiculous things. Like there'd be like sticks in my hair and like I'd be wearing like soccer socks pulled up, like just like when they say when people are on meth, they go in psychosis. I'm pretty sure I was in a psychosis due to alcohol, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I like, and I would even take a bottle of wine and hide it behind the bar. So like behind like I live in a small town, right? So I knew there was like a little gap between the bar and the store next door. So I'd hide it. So because I knew I was going to find people to go to an after party. I would never even call anybody. I would just go to the bar because I knew I would see people, hide my booze so that I could go party more after because I knew I could find people to do that with, right? So my drinking got really out of control for about I'd say 10 years off and on. Like I said, I had that 3 year stint of sobriety, but that's about it. And then I met a guy. Well, not met a guy. There was somebody that I had a crush on in high school, and he moved back from out west, and I got together with him and got pregnant and had my daughter. So that my drinking slowed down quite a bit, right? But he was a drug addict himself. He actually is a intravenous fentanyl user. Didn't know that at the time, though. So once I had my daughter, we found out my dad was riddled with cancer, right? So
Oof.
that I didn't want to drink because I always black out every time. I didn't want to have the last bit of time with my dad not be remembered and have my dad like see me like he didn't like my drinking either, obviously, right? So he ended up getting septic shock because he worked in heating and cooling and he didn't retire like he was supposed to, and he got septic shock from an air conditioner. He was in a 3-month coma, and I lived at the hospital at night with him, and my daughter stayed with my mom overnight because my daughter's father was sitting in my dad's house doing drugs, so we couldn't trust him to watch her, right? And
Right.
so I was sober again for that 3 months. He got out of the coma, came home. I stayed sober again through that because we knew we didn't have much time. I just wanted to make everything fun instead of spending the money on booze. If it's a holiday, I'd make sure everything's extra special. But then the day he died, I got drunk and I woke up the next morning and I had literally smashed everything in the kitchen, like everything. I don't remember it, but I was so angry at the world. You know what I mean? Like, because I'd lost my best friend. My dad is my best friend. I won't even get legally married because I want to belong to my dad forever. I'm creepy like that, I guess. I take his urn with me. He's part of our family because he always wanted grandkids. So take him everywhere with us. And because in my mind, it's like he gets to be part of the family if he's with us,
Right.
opposed to being somewhere in a grave alone by himself, right? So
I
I don't want to
understand.
leave him
I
by
understand that.
himself. But so I got sober when he passed away, and I left her father because because he turned my house into basically a drug den. My daughter found a needle, right? So
Wow.
I because of my grief for the first couple months, I was drinking. I kind of let it slide, but then the clarity hit, and I'm like, obviously, I can't live like this. I have to do something. I got sober again and left her father and sold my childhood home, which was really, really, really hard for me to do. But my dad it was an old home and it needed a lot of work done on it. And my dad had viral cancer in his brain and he died 2 weeks later. But my aunt had so he was not cognitively there. And my aunt either signed the paperwork for him or coerced him into signing any inheritance. I lost 120 grand, which I could
Yeah.
have used to fix up the house, which my dad never wanted me to sell. And ever since I've sold it, my life has been very, very difficult. I feel like because I sold it, but it's also because I couldn't afford to fix it up and I couldn't
Right.
live with a child in a house at the state it was in. So I thought giving her a better life by buying a new house with that money would be better. So I did that. And then I met somebody who was a very functional opiate addict, right? And I had all this grief. I had all this family drama going on. And he gave me one day when I wasn't feeling very good. And I was like,
Mm.
heaven! Oh, this is awesome. And I dove deep into Oxy. I liked Oxy. And so, and Percocets and or any
So
kind of
pills. Yeah, the pills.
but I didn't like morphine. I didn't like Dilaudid. Oxy was my jam, I guess you could say, right?
Right.
And so, and if we're speaking about rock and roll, I'll go back for a sec. My dad had all his records. So when I said I smashed everything in the kitchen, my dad loved music, so I must have been going through his records while I was drinking, and it must have really triggered me, and that's why I smashed everything because the only thing
Mm.
that saved was his box of records, and everything else was smashed. But it will go. I'm just saying, just because it is rock and recovery. It's just funny that
Yeah, absolutely.
what triggered me was going through his old albums and listening to the music and everything, right? But that now helps me connect with him. Every time I hear a song or something, I feel like I'm connected to him. But we'll go back to the opiates. So I dove into the opiate world. But opiates are not cheap, right? So
Not at all.
I ended up blowing through whatever money I did have left from the sale of my house, which I will tell you is about $60,000 in drugs, which is in
Wow.
2 years' time. That's a lot of money. And we were going to. This is where reality of my disease hit me. Was I took my daughter to a check cashing place, which I always told myself I would never go to one of those places. I had her with me, and I was using my baby bonus to get like money, like using it on my baby bonus to get money to buy more pills, right?
Right.
So I looked at my daughter's face and something in me clicked saying like, this is a problem, this is a problem. And you know, when there comes a point when you realize you have a problem, the same thing happened to me with alcohol, but then you're trying to devise a
It's
plan.
manageable. It's not really that much of a problem. I'm only affecting myself.
And
Yeah.
you're trying to reason it, but you still know
Yeah.
it's there. So
You're trying to
then
justify it.
my like I call him my husband. We're not married because I won't get married, but anyways, my husband had 3 widowmaker heart attacks due to fentanyl being in
Wow.
the pills that we took, right? And so seeing his life was one of the times he had a heart attack, he was driving and me and the kids were in the car, and
Wow.
we didn't realize that was a heart attack, so they let him go home. He thought that he had a concussion because he thought it was from a concussion or something, right? Because when you take those kind of pills, you nod off, you hit your head off things. It's just how it's just that kind of, it's a downer, right? You'll wake up with burn holes all over you from cigarettes. You don't remember, you're covered in bruises. That's kind of how it was for me, at least, and him, right? And that's why he didn't realize that was a heart attack the first time, and then came home, had another heart attack, like did a, had
Mm-hmm.
another heart attack, and the ambulance took him, Narcaned him, and then the addictions doctor he talked to told him not to quit, just to wean himself down. So when he comes back home, he does again, and this time it was really bad. My brother-in-law that where we're staying right now lived across the street from us, and he ended up. I called him. He broke in the house because I had all the doors locked, and I was trying. I'm my stupid high mind from seeing movies. I'm trying to move my 200.
Furniture.
No, I tried to move my 250-pound, 6'2" spouse into a cold tub,
Uh,
into a tub, like when they say they put ice on people.
mm-hmm.
So
Ice bath. Yeah.
I was trying to do that, and so he breaks in the house, and his sister was with the neighbor, and
Oof.
she's on top of him trying to resuscitate him. The ambulance comes, the police come. They tell his sister it was that it's probably a fatality. She goes to the hospital. I'm not allowed to leave the house because the police are saying this is going to be a crime scene because he he's not gonna make it. Luckily, our children were with my mom. So when the cop asked me about the toys and stuff, to keep children's aid out of it, I said that the children live with my mom and they only come and visit us once in a while.
Wow.
Because I'm smart enough to do that. Otherwise, my
Yeah.
children would have been taken away from me on the fucking spot, right? And I knew it. So I said, nope, the children don't live here. That's just for when they come by. And she believed me. So I got really lucky in that scenario. He survived. We got really lucky. So then we both went to a methadone clinic and got on a drug called Suboxone, which is a beta blocker. So even if I take Tylenol, I can't feel anything. It blocks any type of pain medication.
Right. It's
So
an
you can't
agonist.
so you can't feel the high of it, right? Or you don't get any effects from it.
Right.
So the Suboxone is like, instead of methadone, because I took methadone the first day that I went, I had never been higher in my life. So I knew that I could not stay on that medication. It would just lead to another addiction. So I
Right.
asked my doctor to put me on Suboxone instead, right? And so from there, I've been doing like different. So basically, I've been sober since then. I had gone down to 70 pounds and I thought I was going to die if I got sick because my body couldn't handle it. So I was drinking Ensures, like those high calorie drinks, and finally got back to like normal weight. Um, my spouse worked the whole time, so like we were okay that way and stuff. But like obviously now we're not buying pills, so we were able to put our lives back together, so to speak. And I went back to school for a certificate program. That was something because I worked as a restaurant manager, a bartender, and a server. I wanted to get my like travel agent. I went and got my travel agent certificate to kind of combine all the hospitality experience and stuff. But
Right.
it with my daughter's father being such an addict and coming in and out of jail, coming in and out of the hospital, living in an opioid addicted town, I just thought, you know what, I want to start something that will help people. So I started a homeless resource program, which compiled all the resources for the homeless in one pamphlet. And I would, so that they, because if they don't have internet access, then they don't have to go to
They
the
don't
library.
have the resources. Right.
Yeah, and it's anything from getting your ID, showers, jobs, medications, housing, where you can get food, where you can get clothes, when, all like it's just all encompassing. So I started with that, and then I started my podcast. Everyone is addicted. Just to show, because I hated how people treated the homeless, because
Yeah.
nobody asked to be homeless. There's a reason. A lot of it is mental health.
Mental health. You know.
And
Yeah.
yeah, addiction is mental health problems. 99% of the time, people become addicts because they have trauma or some other form of mental health issues. I
They're
got
trying. They're
that,
searching for something that they're lacking,
and
or they're
that's where
not being. Yeah.
well, this is how I truly got sober, was because they gave me a mental health assessment and I was finally able to understand myself. And that was a lot of why I was using, especially with the alcohol. From being bullied, I was agoraphobic. So I was afraid to leave the house because of these people. And I had all this paranoia about being around people because of that. So they were able to help me understand myself. And then that once you understand yourself, you can work towards getting better mentally, right?
Right.
And so
Absolutely.
that's basically that portion of my story. Is that's my addiction portion. Um, Everything was fine for a few years and stuff, but my spouse got addicted to gambling, and
Mm.
we lost our house. One day I was just sitting there and the police come to the door. He didn't, like, I didn't know this was going to happen. Police come to the door, tell me I have 15, this is in May, told me I had 15 minutes to get out of the house and grab whatever I can. And I
Wow.
grabbed, I grabbed some stuff. It was the 15-minute wasn't even up, and I'm calling my mom in the backyard just to see if I can go there. And they're yelling at me, telling me to get out of the backyard, and it was crazy. And then once I'm at my mom's house, they wouldn't let us get any of our stuff. They took everything out of the house and put it in bins. So I literally had nothing. I still don't have my stuff. I'm finally gonna start being able to get it back now. But so then my mom's house was not big enough for all of us, so we ended up staying with my in-laws, and they were very difficult to live with. That's all I'll really say about that. But on top of that, my spouse got wrongfully dismissed. We're going through a legal battle with that. So there's just more stuff piling up. And then my cat that my dad had given me passed away because his parents made me keep him in a wood shop, and he
Mm.
got like really sick from all the fumes and the dust
Dust.
and
Yeah.
everything, and he passed while I was writing. So I'm also back in school again for accounting, I'm writing an exam while my cat dies, and I have not stopped. I will not let myself stop. So as all of this bad stuff's happening, I keep doing my podcast. I also have a television show, and I go to school full time, and I have 2 kids. And it's summer now, so now they're not in school, so I don't have that time during the day to work on things. But luckily, the silver lining of my spouse being fired was I was able to keep up with things because he was home to help me, right?
So how through all that, through all these struggles, how'd you keep sober?
Basically, I this is what I do when something is bad. I really assess it. So it's called like kind of like shadow work, or you want to call it brainstorming. We'll call it brainstorming.
Brainstorming?
I will put so this is the problem. If I am to do drugs or alcohol, this
Right.
is all the outcomes. And then I also have learned through different guests I've had on my show a lot of different ways of handling hard situations in recovery. So honestly, I mean, the people on the podcast want to come on and help just one person. They
Yeah.
helped me. They've all helped me through their stories to push myself through and not relapse. Do you know what I mean? Or also not mentally fall apart. So
Right.
but through my guests, and it's funny because they all say, "Oh, I want to help one person." So I did a video. I'm like, you know what? Every one of my guests who said they wanted to help one person, they helped me, and like they helped me hard. I'm only gonna cry. Like they really, really helped me. Like I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have this advice from all these different people, right?
Right.
And just the experiences, knowing that they made it through some really crazy things. Like I had a veteran that tried to commit suicide. Well, he shot himself, and he's blind and deaf now. And then he became an alcoholic for a few years, but then he got sober, and now he's creating accessibility software for schools.
Yeah.
And
For the deaf
just
and blind. Yeah.
after going through just the trauma of going to war, because I dated somebody who went to war, I know how traumatic it is. And then the suicide, and then the addiction, and then coming out the other side doing something so important and impactful. He taught himself how to code while he was deaf and blind himself.
Wow.
Taught himself how to do this, and then now is helping others, right? So this is what I mean by other people's strength gave me strength, right? And so that's how I stayed sober, is honestly the advice of other seasoned people. So if you're somebody that is struggling in a hard time, so sobriety is not all sunshine and rainbows.
No,
And
not at all.
like
I mean,
coping mechanisms, they can work, yes, but I honestly believe reaching out to people and taking advice wherever you can that fits you is life saving. Like I know a lot of people, your ego gets in the way of accepting that advice, and even just everybody, you feel like a victim in these situations, right?
absolutely.
Have that, you cannot have any victim mentality. You have to think I also kept telling myself, like, everything in life happens for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
where I am now is living with my brother-in-law, because my sister-in-law charged him with some false accusations. I won't say anymore because it's a legal case, but I went through all of that. She did some horrible things to me while I was staying with. She moved into his parents' house too, and that's where she sold $200 from me. She did some things to my kids. Like
Wow.
she really, really did some bad things to me. So life put me through all this crap, and now I'm in her beautiful home and living back in my hometown, and being able to finally be out of flight and be okay. And it all happened really fast, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it was like there was a plan for me in life. It just hadn't shown itself yet. So that's something
Yeah.
else you have to tell yourself, is there is a plan. It might not be your plan, but there is a plan, and you just kind of have to ride it out and find. I also have a friend who's a pastor, and he always finds the good in a negative situation. So if
You
you,
got to.
yeah,
There's always a reason for everything happening, whether it's good or bad. We may not understand it, but it's not for us to understand either. It's all working towards one purpose, and that's the purpose of positivity and good. Honestly, we get taught lessons daily on certain things that we don't even know we're being taught a lesson on.
and
You
I will
know,
say, I learned, like, I'm a totally different person now from this. I learned a lot more about respecting the things I have. I learned a lot more about how to stay calm and in really high stress situations. I learned how to push through and continue on what my journey of helping people with mental illness and addiction, and I kept going to school. I didn't let anything get in my way. I basically put it in a box when it was a hard time and focused on what I needed to and just pushed myself through it because I knew that if like I said, I knew there was a plan. It might not be mine, but there is one. And if I let these things go, I'm going to start hating myself. And once I start hating
right,
myself, I'm going to start doing drugs again. So
right,
I just threw myself into work, and through that, I got a lot of advice and help from other people, which turned out positive. And the outcome of the whole crazy, wild situation I just explained, it was the outcome that was meant to happen. And I missed my hometown. I love that I get to be back here. My kids get to go to my old school. It's really cool. And like, I now have somewhere where I don't feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I can breathe again and focus on things with a more clear lens, because I'm
yeah,
not in. But it all, the way that it happened, like I said, it all was like sequential leading up to what ended up happening, but I couldn't see it until it happened. So anybody who's struggling, you're not going to see it until it but it can't rain every day. So
right.
eventually things will get better is basically what I had to think. Can't rain every day, can't rain every day. And I also, when I wake up in the morning, I'm a smoker, I won't lie. I go have about 5-10 minutes to myself in the morning to breathe, to clear my head, to
To
think,
wake up, yeah,
to have that put. I also listen to some positive things on my phone so that I'm not waking up and going into my day with chaos already on the mind, right? So that's another
yes.
thing that I found helpful. So yeah, it's been quite an event, a wild ride in sobriety and a wild ride in addiction, I guess. Like I
So
can
tell me more about your what you do daily. What helps you daily? Let's say you have a bad day right now. Let's say your day starts going uh, towards negative. You start feeling down about everything else. How do you get out of that cycle? How do you get out of that rut?
What I do if I'm having a really, really bad day is I will go lay down for about half an hour to restart. Do you know what I mean? So I'll go lay down for a half an hour, maybe think about it, maybe I'll fall asleep, whatever. But I reset myself. So if I'm having a really bad day, that's exactly what I do. Is I take a little bit of time for myself, I lay down, and I reset so that I'm not, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just reset myself. So, I'm sorry. So, yeah, I reset myself basically, right? So I'll go have even 10 minutes. You just have to go give yourself a reset. You take yourself out of the situation and reset. And even like my right now, my school's on strike. I'm waiting for my funding, and
Mm,
there's absolutely nothing I can do about it, right? And it's stressing me out because I don't know what the ramifications are going to be if my tuition doesn't get paid because of this, right? But I can't control it. I have to understand that. And
right.
instead of getting worked up by it, I will go and take that 10 minutes to 20 minutes to myself to just let it go, and then come back and prioritize what I need to do. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
heard your kids coming in there for a minute. I I seen the mother mouth going. "Rrr, rrr."
Well, because
Yeah,
the thing with having kids and doing this, they're actually school started last week and they already have
right,
PA day. It's like ridiculous, but they know when mommy does interviews not to come and bother me. But my daughter wanted her slippers, and then she tripped over my purse. So,
I was wondering what that bang was in the background.
yeah, she
Uh,
tripped over my purse, and like she's like, "I'm sorry, mom." I'm like,
Hey, life's life, you know.
"Yeah, I think
We can't stop everything. There's certain things we can't control, and our kids are not one of them.
no,
Yeah.
no." And that's the thing too that kept me sober through that whole journey was my kids and knowing that like I have to be there for them,
Right,
I'm I can't leave them. I can't let them down. They're already going through enough of themselves. I had a really hard childhood, like really hard with my mother. She was very abusive, not physically but mentally. So really try to give my kids like the try not to be that kind of parent, and I
right,
really work and focus on my parenting. And so in knowing that I don't want to let them down, or you know, if they can't go do drugs in this
right,
situation to escape it, so
right.
why should I be able to? That's not fair, and that's letting them
So I
down.
know you were saying your rock bottom was when you're in the check cashing place and you've seen the daughter's look in your face or look, you didn't want to be that type of person. What was the transformation like from thinking like that into getting to where you are now? How hard was that? And, what'd you do? Are you still in a program or, uh,
Yeah, so I'm still on Suboxone because my sister-in-law is an opiate addict and she has it around me or talks about it a lot. So I stay on it because of the stressful time. I did not want to relapse. It was my insurance policy, I guess. So I also go see my addictions doctor. I also call her my therapist because she is very good to talk to, but she's also very straight up, which I am the kind of person who needs that. And so I go to the methadone clinic every 2 weeks. I go to a program called Celebrate Recovery with my friend who has, it's weird, my mom lives with him, but we both he got me to want to go to AA. We were at AA together. Then I was at the methadone clinic, ran into him there, and that my mom was losing her housing. He said, "Oh, I have a granny suite," so she moved in there, and now me and him go to Celebrate Recovery together every Monday. So it's kind of funny that I have a friend that I've known since I was 5 that randomly our recovery just kind of intertwines with itself, I guess, and we kind of lean on each other. Like when he's going through crap, he'll call me and we'll talk about it, and the same thing.
Celebrate Recovery is great. I love it. I do Celebrate Recovery myself.
Also,
So
you're like, yeah, I don't
yeah,
you love that you don't have to be an addict. It's if you're even
yeah,
just
it's for
having
anything.
a fun time. I
You
love
just
it.
have, yeah, just for anything. Just having a bad day, you can go there,
My
and it's a great place.
well, the reason why I like that program, I've had issues with AA and stuff. I don't like that you have to label yourself
The
so
judgmental issues of AA,
talk about the
yeah,
past and they're gossipy. It's just
yeah,
I have not had a good experience with it. My other mother-in-law for my daughter, she runs Celebrate Recovery in Ontario and she's very heavily involved, 30 years sober. So she is like a person that is very helpful for me. And so that's what got me to go. I didn't even know Celebrate Recovery existed until I met her, right? And I was like, this is the program for me. I mean, yes, it just I'll let you guys know it is religious based. So if you aren't somebody who
absolutely. It's religious based. Jesus
if you
Christ is my Lord and Savior. That's all
mm-hmm.
there is to it. He's the one that's helped me through daily, and and I recognize that, and everybody else better too, because hey, that's just the way I am.
Well
It's
that's exact. I was just trying to use words like life's plan and stuff, but really, if
yeah,
you want me to
yeah.
say, it's God's plan. I give
There
it
you
to
go.
God. You know what I
There you
mean?
go.
That's a lot of it. I give it to God. I know that God has a plan for me and it'll unfold. And I like with Celebrate Recovery, I don't know if they do it the same where you go, but they have a band and they play like really uplifting
Yes.
music and it gets
And
to
then
the
you
meat.
break into your small groups and
It
Yeah,
sets that tone, and even
it
me and my
does.
we were such dorks, but we'll literally sing with the band and stuff
Yeah.
and right into it. Like I love it, right?
Yep.
It's a very like if you even if you're not religious, honestly, it's just the atmosphere at that place is so much
It's
different
so
for
positive that it's hard not to buy into what they're selling, basically, you know.
mhm,
And even if I didn't have Jesus Christ as my Savior before, that just makes it even easier to find them. There's such a giving people. There's such a giving community that they will help anybody anywhere. You can go in there one day clean or not clean at all, still using, and they don't judge you. They don't judge you.
I also I also like other programs, they don't separate the men and women. Being
Right.
able to go, especially for men,
Small men's
I feel like
men's and women's groups. Yep.
yeah, men, I feel like in a program where there's women around have a very hard time opening up because of how society makes them
Right.
have to be stoic and
Yeah.
stuff. At Celebrate Recovery, you can go in the room, you're with other men, you can break down if you want and not feel judged by
Absolutely.
a woman. And women, the same thing. If you've been abused or whatever, and you don't want to say it in front of men,
Right.
you can do the same thing. And you're right. Like there's people that will come in and be like, I've relapsed. I hate myself. But there's not that judgment of AA or CR or AA or NA where it's like you have to get a sponsor. You have to do this. You have to
Yeah.
do that. It's not like that. Right.
No.
And
And they
my
feed you
mother,
food.
it's awesome. And so going into what I want to do now that things have settled down is my like ex mother-in-law. She goes to the jails and talks about CR, and I because of her son and his recidivism so heavily, right? I want
Right.
to go with her and then maybe come up with a bit of a program to help them transition more better into society to stop that relapse and that recidivism because
Yeah.
they come out and they like a lot of times if you're in there for a while it's really hard to assimilate back into society. So I want to try to create a program with her that's connected to CR that helps them transition better into society. And her and I have been talking about that. There's a bunch of steps she told me that I have to do through CR to get to that. So I have to do that first, then her and I can work on that. But it's mostly just working like it's mostly just going to as many meetings as I can and making sure I know the program inside and out so that I can be able to explain it better to other people at the
Absolutely.
right? So I have to do that. But other than that, like I said, life's wild and it's crazy and it's led me a lot of places, but the best place it's led me is CR.
So why do you want to help? What led you to help wanting to help other people?
Because I've been through it and I hate how people treat people like it's just such a stigma about addicts
Addiction and mental health.
health. Yeah, and people just judge you right off the bat. Like I'm an open book, so I don't mind telling
Yeah.
things about myself, but like I'll watch it like because there's a downtown at my old city I lived in, and it was full of homeless, full and people would post online how disgusting they were and all the addicts and this and that and
Yeah.
even make comments when they're out and stuff. If somebody comes up and asks you for some change or a cigarette or something, just the disgust people would have.
Yeah.
I don't like how people treat people who have mental health issues and people who are addicts. And so I want to bring awareness and humanize the fact that they're somebody's child. So I will have,
Mother, daughter,
yeah, like my
yeah.
daughter's father's out there on the streets right
Right.
now, right? And we don't know what's going to happen to him. And I can't force him to get sober. So I just don't know what's going to happen to him. But I want to bring awareness to he's loved like by people and to treat
Right.
him like he's nothing is, I
To
don't,
quit freaking treating them like gutter and treating them like another human being.
it
That's
keeps them
all.
sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they don't want like it keeps them sick because they mentally hate themselves and
Yeah.
then you're just putting more hate. They're not wanting to go and get sober because what's the point? Everybody just hates me and that's the mental health aspect of it. And then the using and they have like that's what I mean. Like they just don't have the people just stigmatize them so much and they don't understand. And so I wanted to
And
bring understanding and also other ways to finding sobriety. Like I said, like with CR is not as well known, and everybody, like in my city, says detox, rehab,
right.
meetings, right? And so
And I found CR actually, I first heard about it while I was in prison. So,
yeah,
but at the time I didn't want to get sober anyway. I was doing more stuff in prison than it was so easily readily available that I really didn't care, and I knew I was going to come out, even though I said I wasn't going to use anymore. I knew I was going to go right back to it, so I wasn't ready myself,
you have to be
and
ready, and that's the problem,
right.
right? You
You
can't
have to be
rush
ready.
somebody to get sober, but you can introduce them to different
Absolutely.
ways. So I will also, through other people's like stories of their recovery journey, like mine and stuff, what they've done to what, like I will basically ask them like, what did you do to get sober and what do you do to maintain sobriety, to
Right.
show other people different perspectives on it and different views. Some are religious based, some are holistic based, some are clinical based, but it's more choices, more options. So you're not stuck in like, well, I don't want to go to AA, like how I didn't want to go to AA, right? Like, but if there was naltrexone available and I knew about it, maybe I would have tried that.
Valtrexone.
Yeah, like the drug that you don't have to stop drinking, it eventually makes
Right.
stop drink. It's the Sinclair method or whatever. But like if that was introduced to me, I maybe would have used that. Like I don't 100% know what I would
Right.
have done, but I didn't have options. So
Do you
I
have a
tried.
plan now to get off Suboxone?
I'm planning on weaning down probably. I'm gonna wait about a month just to make sure everything pans out okay, and then I'm gonna start weaning down. I don't take the shot, I take the pills, so it'll be a lot easier for me to do. My friend did the shot, he said it was very, like I've been told it's very hard to come off of, but if you
I
wean,
The strips, I've heard. I know somebody that cold turkey the strips, and they said it's worse than any
we
withdrawal that they've ever
we
had.
know that mutual we know that mutual person. I interviewed him too, and he said the same thing to me, and he told me to get off it right now. And I'm like, I'm going, he, because he explained that to me too, right? And so yeah, my plan is to wean down. I have an amazing doctor, and because I know my mental health issue part, like I said, I once I know that I'm in a safe space, like I feel like I am now, but I also want to give it at least a couple weeks, make sure everything plays out the way that I'm assuming that it's going to. Then I'm going to start weaning down. Um, I usually they do it about like every month or 2 weeks. You go down a milligram or two, and then a milligram,
Absolutely.
right? And so I already don't take my full prescription, so I only take half of it.
Okay.
So
So you're already in the weaning down process phase
yeah,
anyway.
I don't take my whole prescription anyways. So and there's been days where I've only taken like 2 milligrams when I'm prescribed 20 milligrams. I only take 16 so, at times, but other days I will only take 2 milligrams. So
Right.
I'm in the process of kind of working with it myself. But once I like fully want to commit and know that I'm ready to like put that headspace in there and drive it through, I'm going to work with my doctor and have her like work with me instead of me just kind of like taking it as needed per se. I'd rather just not, right? And have a
Right.
doctor help me that I trust opposed to just cold turkeying it like I did with booze. Or I didn't do that. I didn't with opiates. I would definitely say do not cold turkey it, because
Right.
I would go get some help at a methadone clinic. And a methadone clinic is not what you think. Everybody looks like everyday people. It's not like what you think. Like, you know what I mean? It's not
Right.
like just all homeless people that are there. There's a
And it's any recovery is possible. It's just you got to find the right one for you. And if
that's
that's cold turkey, then that's fine. I'm
that's why I say one size does not fit all.
never has.
No. And that's why I try to get like that's like the point of my mission is to sort of show people that aspect of you can get sober if you want to.
If you
You
want.
but you got
Absolutely.
to find what works for you, because if you're
And you
going to
got to put in the work. It's not
Mhm.
just to sit back and get sober. No, you got to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, then what's the point?
But I also think that it's kind of a blessing that like having an addiction and putting in the work, because I think everybody need should be working on themselves in like some way, because we all have character defects, right?
Absolutely.
And the blessing of being an addict is having being able to work on those character defects and knowing them,
And
where
then
the
working through them, knowing that you've got these issues and finding a new way to cope with them and make it through the day with them. That's the best way. It's better than any addicted day any active addict day that I've ever had, any day that I chose to forget, because that's really what you're trying to do. You get into things to forget.
yeah.
It's just to forget,
And
just
I
to forget everything,
I
you
think
know?
that we all have like an addiction to something when we're stressed out as a coping mechanism. And it can be a positive one. It can be that
Yeah.
you're going to the gym,
Right.
overly to the gym, just to shut your brain off and numb what's bothering you, right? So I feel like be having a negative addiction and having to work on my character defects, I don't need to find something to replace the drugs or anything. I just work on my character defects. Like, for instance, like sometimes I can become envious of other people when I see certain things on Facebook. Then I sit there and
And then there's a resentment coming.
yeah, and I realize it, but like other people, that's the blessing of being an addict. I realize it and I can stop it and like
Yeah.
understand it, right? Where other people would just sit there, be resentful and pissed off all day or feel bad about themselves all day or whatever it affects you with, right? And that is the one thing that comes out of all of the crap we went through, is that we're able to identify our character defects and work on ourselves and
Right.
be the best versions of ourselves we can be. And I think that that is the light in the dark, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if somebody you're doing some outreach, you're walking down the street and there's this person that you see is struggling hard. And you can tell that he's at his rock bottom. What would you tell that person if he asked you for help? What would you say to that person if he's just asking you, trying to get sober curious? What would you say to that person?
I would ask them things about their personality and about what sobriety looks like to them. And then through what I know of different methods, give them advice on what their personality seems like would work for them. And also probably take, like, depending on what drug they were on, I'd probably give them a Suboxone and be like, here, see, get some clarity today. And feel better, because if they're going through withdrawal, they're not gonna be able to accept any kind of
Right.
help, right? So if I
Right.
can get them out of the withdrawal and then sit and talk with them about what recovery looks like to them, what would work best, what do they think would work best for them, and then give them and like just talk a little bit with them to kind of get their vibe, get their personality, and then give them like whatever information I have, give them my number, and then like if they ever need more information or if they need somebody to go with them because they're afraid, I would. I I've done it with other people before, right?
Yeah.
I've sat in the methadone clinic with numerous people for hours for the intake, and you know what I mean. And I actually put up on my thing like contact me if you want resources, and people do. And I'm like, I had somebody the other day, I just talked to them, and they basically the exact same thing you just asked me. They were a family friend's daughter's boyfriend, and he was struggling to stay sober. So yeah, like his mother-in-law asked him to call me. So I said, yeah. And so we talked on the phone. I got his vibe of what would work for him. I gave him the resources that I know of. And I also talked to him a little bit about how his, like, what his like how his addiction works for him. Do you know what I mean? Like he'll and I told him like go and get a mental health assessment also because that really helps you figure out who you are and why you know what I mean? Like it helps you figure your brain
Right.
out. And that is freeing to know that like you have these problems and then you can start working on them at whatever way. So I said, get a health.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and if it was a person on the street in withdrawal, I probably would give them a Suboxone, let it kick in, and sit and chat with them, try to figure out what would work for them, not just say, "Oh, you need to go to a meeting," or "You
And
need
do
to."
you have a website or
I see. My spouse has been working on my website, but through
okay.
all the chaos that we're going through,
Yeah.
it's not quite done yet because I have to categorize. I want to categorize everything so that
Well,
it's
when you do get it done, shoot me an email with it and I'll post it in some notes and I'll make sure it gets out there for the
yeah.
area that you live in,
My
you know.
husband my husband should have it done in about a week now that we actually have somewhere stable. I also
Right.
have a television show. So if you want to see that, it is at www.rogers.com. Everyone is addicted. And you click on it. That's my page. It has all of my episodes on it. So
Wow.
I do have a website, but it's through an
And what
affiliate.
is the TV show about?
It's the same thing. It's the same kind of thing. It's about awareness and about because, like I said, my city is just so judgmental. So
Yes.
I put on the more I like episodes that are more not necessarily like I'll put on family members, like the more eye-opening ones, the more
Right,
that
right,
bring awareness to um these problems, where the gaps are, people who work in
right.
healthcare in the community, people all over the world, to be honest. I've had plant medicine, things like that. I
Yeah.
talked to the guy who started Cali Sober. We did an interview. I put him on there. Like,
I just
so
had Massimo Rigodi on here. Big shout out to him.
I know
He
Massimo. I did an interview with him too.
he's a great guy.
I love
Ray Star, he's a great guy.
I did, yeah. I still talk to Ray Ray. I don't know. I just clicked with him. He's amazing. I think he's just so refreshing. That's what I say to him
Yeah.
all the time. I'm like, you're so refreshing because a lot of the times I'll get recovery coaches just wanting to sell
Right.
themselves and that's
Right.
not helpful to me. So like Massimo's not a recovery coach. That's
No,
how
not at all.
he's got his own method, which is right. Like right, he's got that down to a
Yeah.
science. And he's hilarious too. Like
He is fun. He's fun.
he's a fun guy. And so is Ray
Another
Ray.
good one, I don't know if you know her, is Hillary Powers.
Yeah, I actually have an interview lined up for her next week.
She is awesome. Tell her I said hi because she did one with me. She's awesome.
You also did another. I looked through your episode list. You did another one with a woman. Oh, what is her? I don't want to look at my phone right now, but
Gretchen.
no, maybe it is Gretchen. She had an addiction, and then her son had an addiction, and she got him
Yes.
sober.
Oh, what was her name? Now
No,
I
no,
hold
you did.
on. I'll tell you. I will freaking figure it out right now.
She was amazing too, and just like hearing, like that's what I mean. Those people are the people that like have helped guide me. You know what I mean? Because they're just so they've gone through so much themselves, especially her.
Was it Mary? No, it wasn't Merity.
It's like Natasha or something like that.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It was
Jennifer Chase. Jennifer Chase. That's her
Jennifer Chase. Yes. She was awesome.
name. She is, and the fact she broke her
She did. Yeah.
she broke generational addiction.
Right.
Her own addiction. She got her son sober, and now
Yes.
because of all like that's what I mean. Talking to people like that have helped me learn so much, and they help other people learn so much. And by them doing interviews with like people like us, it gets that message out there, and I love it. Right?
And that's what it's all about, is getting the message out there, because you know what? I might not connect with someone, you might not connect with someone, but one of us will.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that matters. Is there anything else you want to say before we end this podcast?
I am not going to say you're not alone and say the typical thing. I'm just going to say that you have options. So if you are either wanting to get sober or struggling in sobriety, look for options. Like, look at not just like my podcast, look at podcasts that have about addiction, and look at what the episodes are about and see what fits you, and you'll learn so much more guidance, so much more about perspectives, other people's struggles. You can do it. So basically all I'm going to say is you have the strength to get through anything, and by listening to other people, it will just reiterate that strength. And
Yep, that's right. You got to find your people.
yeah, and
Like,
I stay friends with most of them too, because they're
yeah,
just so like,
they are genuine people.
yeah.
That's the funny thing is once we lose all our friends while we're trying to get clean and sober, and we find that the quantity might not be there, but the quality is
Mhm.
100%.
And they have, like I said, they have the help. They work in the industry. A lot of people that have like gotten sober work in the industry, and because
Yeah,
of their lived experiences, you can learn so much from
yep,
listening to them. And
you can.
especially Jennifer Chase, honestly, that would be
She
one.
is. She was an amazing guest. She's an amazing person, an amazing mom. I mean,
Mhm,
everything that she struggled, she was just an amazing person, and I learned a lot from her. And I'm sure everybody that listened learned a lot from her. Yeah, she's
mhm.
just a great person. Another one is I'll give a big. He helped me get started in this podcast. Is Pete versus Anxiety.
Yeah, I still talk to Pete. Shout
He's
out
my best.
to
He's a
Pete.
good friend. I started with him a year ago when he was just starting his podcast. I've known him that long.
I
And so shout out to Pete versus
Yeah,
Anxiety.
shout out
I
to
love
Pete.
you, man.
We
You've
both
got a birthday coming up. Your 1 year birth date for podcast is coming up in 3 more days. I
Yep.
love you, bro.
And
You
I
know,
started the same thing, and I told you I would. So happy 1 year, Pete. I love you too. And you've also got me, like I had started, but he definitely put me on the path of, he helped guide me on different things with podcasts, really gave me a lot of
yes,
tips, a lot of advice and stuff that,
definitely an open book. Definitely the most helpful person I know.
uh-huh.
Uh, Going into this, like, you can do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And
He
I'm
has
like,
like such good advice.
okay.
He, and he'll give you advice about what apps that are
Yeah.
helpful, and just,
Recommend people. He's like, I
yeah.
think this person's perfect for you. Interview this person. How about this one? And I'm like,
He'll
okay,
send
I'm trying
people
to
to
catch
you.
up.
He'll
Yeah.
send people to you. He's great.
Yep.
And like, I
Yes.
know he's got other things in the works, and I really hope they work out for him, because he is amazing. I think that's funny that he was the same person that kind of got me the same thing with me.
Hey,
He's
he's a true gentleman. He's a true person that believes in other people, and he's doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So congratulations, Pete, because I know it's your 1 year coming up, and I know how hard you work. So keep doing it, because look at, yep, two people right here. And that's just two people, and I know that there's like thousands more.
Thousands.
I
He's
guarantee
doing
it.
3 interviews a day. I guarantee you, he's helping thousands of people, and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing the absolute right thing. And nobody, don't ever turn back, Pete. You're amazing.
Mm-hmm. I definitely, that's, yep, got me going, got you going. I guarantee he's got a lot of other people going, but he also has amazing guests on his show. He
He
also does
does.
things with his show about anxiety, because like, I swear everybody suffers from anxiety. Doesn't matter who you are. So being able to give people a voice to talk about their anxiety and stuff is amazing, on top of all the other help he gives everybody. Like,
Yep.
he just likes to help people, and he's so good at it. It's, yeah. I just talked to him like yesterday. So yeah.
So did I. He emailed me this morning. He's like, I think you should do this person. I'm like, I've already got her lined up. And yeah, he's like, well, good. Look at you going, getting ahead of me. And I'm like, I'm trying. I'm just trying to keep up, you know?
He said to
So
me, he's like, you just keep getting more interesting every time I talk to you.
yeah, Pete's
Yeah.
awesome. And, on that note, that's our show. Thank you for joining in us on Rock and Recovery. Thank you, Jasmine, for coming up and telling your story. And y'all, remember, Suicide Prevention Month, not just awareness, it's Prevention Month. 988 in the US and Canada, 111 in the UK. You can get help if you need it. And it's also National Recovery Month. This month, September, is Recovery Month. You can do it. Look at us. We're doing it. You can do it too. And that's Rock and Recovery. We're out.